Alright, so, welcome back. We're on, video 6 now? I actually tried to start recording this, and then, some things happened, in the house. I completely derailed that. And rather than just start the video, I didn't get further than the next question anyway. Because I was so busy trying to set up my defenses and shit. And I could have done that off camera, but you know what, fuck it. Yeah, these pets aren't exactly worth it, but I wasn't doing this so much to maximize gains. I was trying to do this to do something on screen, while at the same time requiring no effort. So, what are we going to do next? It's going to be another map in which I don't have to really apply myself. That is the goal here. We're looking for pure strategy maps I can just kick back and relax on with my buildings and settings as they are. Actually, let me check out something there. I was on Tavern Defense. How does that look on pure strategy? I never played this on pure strategy before. It's not applicable. Because there tends to be a lot of fucking goblin copters that come. How does this look? Oh, yeah. Oh, I think I could do this. Sure. The monsters might change a lot in the next wave, but I think I can handle this. Yeah. This could be done. We can set this up, certainly. I think. I'd be pretty lazy about it and everything. It'll be wonderful. The bottom parts aren't what get the most flack anyway. It's the parts up at top. God damn it. Oh, for fuck's sakes. Fucking zoom sometimes. So bad. Alright, so entrant 122 is from BooBear995, who writes, "Do you have a moment to talk about Jesus?" 2. What would you say is your favorite game genre? Talk about Jesus. He just tried to get me to accept him into his life, if I didn't already do so. At the end of the last video. And my favorite game genre is, without a doubt, strategy. Something that I think I've made clear. Now, entrant 123 is going to be quite large, because this one comes from LethalFeline. That's right. LethalFeline himself. You have been chosen to write an amendment for the United States Constitution. You want it to benefit the country for hundreds of future generations. You also wanted to stand a chance of making it through the amendment process in the current political ecosystem. What does it contain? Now, same question, but without worrying about it making it through the convention. This really isn't going to be that rewarding of a map on the same difficulty on pure strategy, huh? Well, it's something new to stare at. Again, I'm not exactly doing this for the rewards anyway. Something new to stare at and have fun with. So yeah, that's Lethal's. Let me go ahead and finish setting up the rest of my defenses. And I will get on with thinking about that. Now we're going to want a fireball tower, I think, here. Lightning tower there. I can have a tower buff beam extend along that angle. Over here, we can go ahead and place down another fireball turret, as well as a tower, then another lightning tower. We don't have a whole lot of defense units on this map, which is pretty fucking frustrating. Here, this map, I'm crowding these blockades together in hopes of saving some defense units on any auras I might place down. Because I think I might want to have the line of towers actually extend back here. Only I don't have as many defense units, so I'm gonna have to be better. I won't just be able to rely on deadly striker towers. As fun as that is, and it is fun. Don't get me wrong, it's tons of fun. Let's see, 90? That's enough for me to lay down one set of, well, a tower buff beam, which I think is worth enough that I'll actually go out there and do that. So important enough. Whee! I've never played this on pure strategy, so it remains to be seen. You know, tower defense map, though, is pretty difficult, and it's pretty competitive. So, you know, might be worth the time. And I actually do want this to be a Go 6 arrangement. So, I actually wanted to go maximum length, so maybe like from here to... maybe from there to there? Hopefully they can incorporate 7 towers. If not, then I'll just sell the son of a bitch. No big deal. Righto! Switch back to you. Make the tower stronger, and we'll have to be good with that for now. Let's go. So, LethalFeline, you've been chosen the right amendment for the United States Constitution. You want to benefit the country for hundreds of future generations. You also want to stand a chance of making it through the amendment process in the current political ecosystem. What does it contain? Now, same question without worrying about it making it through the convention. But towers are actually not as strong. Nightmare does make them stronger. So that's a thing. Worth noting. Can the fireball towers actually fire over this crest if they really want to? I think they can. Think being the operative word here. I'm gonna be honest, Lethal. I spent an inordinate amount of time thinking about your comment these past weeks. I typed out a cohesive outline, then erased it, then typed it out again, then erased it again. My primary problem is that anything I feel passionate enough to propose has already been tried. And it has failed numerous times, specifically involving the Electoral College. So, I mean, what I'm about to suggest has a theoretical chance, but we're not looking at winning odds here. But I can't just not suggest it because there have been 4 presidential elections in which the man elected president didn't win the popular vote. The Electoral College is obsolete. Inherently undemocratic and assigns disproportionate power to the swing states instead of making every citizen count. How can you not want to make our election system for the president as American as baseball, apple pie? For starters, we're striking 3 clauses from the Constitution. Article 2, Section 1, Clauses 2 through 4 deal with the electors. You know, the folks who choose the President of the United States. Also, I don't need to have you out anymore. I don't think I need any reflection beams. There's no goblin copters or shark and other bullshit. We'll be fine. We'll just get some pets on insane difficulty and we'll call it a day. That wasn't such a horrible score, I guess. So yeah, the electors are responsible for choosing the President of the United States. We're also repealing both the 12th and 23rd Amendments to the Constitution, both of which become obsolete without the electors. In their place, the POTUS and the VP will now be selected purely through popular vote. As a concession, I forget how big my auras are on not nightmare difficulty. Come on. There you go. That's easier. As a concession to the Democratic and Republican parties, their president and vice president nominees will be presented together in one package. So a vote for one is a vote for both. There we go. And in that buff beam, that'll have to do. How far ahead is this? Yeah, I'll be fine. And I can place one over there, and then I'll have sort of 10 defense units to play with here. Good. Enemy strength 20%. Well, actually only 5, huh? This one really doesn't need one, I don't think, but just in case. This avenue really doesn't have that much trouble at all compared to the top. So 5 defense units to play with. I'll probably just build another fireball tower. We'll go with that. Why are the electors a problem? let me provide a bit of short explanation for everyone unfamiliar with this process. When we United States citizens vote for who will be our president and vice president, we're not voting for either of them. We're actually voting for electors. These electors are who actually decide who will be the president of the United States. They are chosen and fostered by the political parties and are really fucking vetted so that they'll remain loyal to that party. In 48 of the 50 states, the candidate who wins the state gets to have their entire delegation of chosen people, these electors, to be a part of the Electoral College. It is at the Electoral College, with all of the electors, where the electoral votes are given, and those votes are formally cast. In mid-December, I think. The popular vote itself bears no legal significance. It is entirely irrelevant, and candidates, being the savvy bastards they are, can't help but look at the system and fucking play to it because, you know, it'd be like a strategy game. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And of course, I'm gonna focus on what's important to win the goddamn game. What do you think I am? Stupid? As a quirky side, these electors can actually vote for whoever the hell they want. Usually this ends up being for who they pledged to vote for, but they're under no federal obligation to keep their promise. Should an elector change her mind, she becomes known as a faithless elector, and most states do not directly punish such an individual. There will be political ostracization and repercussions from a given person's party, and in a few states you will suffer penalties. It is a violation of the law. But hey, you know what? If you really care enough, everyone else can just get fucked. And your fucking electoral vote will count. Unfortunately, many political scientists and politicians themselves argue, they advocate keeping the status quo. I've heard so many arguments about this, and I won't go into them all here. Suffice to say, it's an interesting debate. That's what, 4, 5... Don't worry, folks. Whenever I'm finally done setting up all these defenses, I can focus a bit more on being intelligent. A novel concept with me, Grimith. Anyway, to end the amendment, we'd have to provide another line, too. Something about the amendment taking effect 2 years after it has been ratified. Hopefully providing enough time for everyone to adjust to the change, or something. Honestly, I don't know. I'm not a political scientist, or a marketeer, or a genius. I haven't come up with every ideal solution that'd be needed to cover the troubles this amendment would have. I just want to increase voter, turnout, as well as reduce public jaundice towards United States politics, and make a positive difference so that everyone can be a WinRAR. Except for the electors, they can get fucked. Now, same question, without having to make it through the convention, ultimately I'd write the same amendment. Sure, I'd be tempted to do all sorts of crazy shit, just sneak it right in there like a good little politician, but that would be morally wrong. I'd like to ban political parties. I'd like to have the second most vote getter be the vice president. Just to be an asshole about it, a cunt waffle. I'd like to do a lot of things. Maybe sneak the Equal Rights Amendment in there. But no, I'd leave it the same. I think I would anyway. Offhand, I've got some hope for the National Popular Vote Interstate Compact, which circumvents altering the Constitution by focusing on Article 2, Section 1, Clause 1, the part in which states are allowed to determine their electors however they'd like. It might take another decade or two, but I think it can get done, particularly if there's more presidential election controversy. Well, that was fucking long. Let's switch to my apprentice here. Grab that final chest. We can actually start the way while we're grabbing the final chest. And we can be a fucking WinRAR. Of course, these guys can't interact with me at all, but I really can't interact with them at all. this map would be much more difficult, and I'd have to mentally focus on what was happening. Now, let's get to the next bacon winner here. Entrant 124 is Troll14. That is TR0LL14. Are you a fan of the SCP Foundation? What TV shows do you watch? I had the search engine SCP Foundation, so the answer is no. Television-wise, I don't watch much of that. It trimmed down my freshman year in college, and now there can be entire weeks when I don't turn on a TV. The last two series I watched were Burn Notice on the USA Network and Dexter on Showtime. Both of those have ended. Burn Notice was alright. The ending just felt like a TV series that had to wrap up all of their angles into something at the end. And not the most satisfying, but I really enjoyed the product overall. Dexter? That entire last season was, I won't spumble anything, but, oh, God. That, oh, man. That was, probably should have picked up Breaking Bad instead. That was rough. That really was rough. Oh, man. Whew. I'll occasionally catch some sports games if I'm not busy. For example, yesterday, there was an early end to my tabletop role-playing game. And so I caught a lot of college football, particularly on Rival Week, which suited me just fine because there was so much good stuff. There was the Iron Bowl between Alabama and Auburn, which ended on that fucking ridiculous, absolute, oh my God, that was, what a heartbreaking end for Alabama to have that happen. And, of course, you know, the Clemson-South Carolina game that went on later on that evening. Stuff like that. You know, in a National Football League, let's see, we're actually in our early afternoon games right now. Somewhere in those, it's 2:49:54 p.m. And I still got a lot more questions to answer here because I'm taking such a slow, long-ass time setting up my defenses. But, yeah. But, you know, I'll watch those from time to time. You know, if I'm on and I don't have anything better. The same is true as, like, say, I could watch hours of the original Law & Order or a Law & Order Special Victims Unit. I really did watch a ton of the original Law & Order. Where are all those ogres? I'm just curious, did you see a lot of ogres? Because I don't see any ogres in this fucking overlay. That is definitely interesting. I don't know. Don't know. I don't think I'm gonna spend so much time peeking my head out for those chests anymore. How about we actually start the wave while we're looking for the chest? So yeah, I could watch a lot of the original Law & Order. I used to back in high school. So I could really just, you know, there's a lot of episodes where I can just, like, hop right in. And, you know, because I saw something, I'm like, yeah, I know it happens. And I can still watch it anyway. It's enjoyable for me. So yeah, that's the answer to that question. Next up, 125 is from Kevin Bismarck, 08, who asks, have you lost weight? You seem slimmer. That is good. And we have 2, have you played SimCity 4 Societies in the New One? Might as well not exist. Opinions? Remember that guy who asked if I'm gaining weight? Yeah, you get the same answer. I lose weight every day. As for SimCity 4, yeah, I played it. Uh-oh. No, Chest, get over here. I need you. I've got both it and Rush Hour. My computer at the time couldn't quite handle the changes that were made to the game, but that's okay, because I didn't really like it. I think Will Wright's absence from the game was noticeable, but I'm not good enough with game design, and I'm kind of distracted right now to really qualify how or why. Maybe I just stopped wanting to play sandbox-type games so much at that time, But SimCity 4 just didn't resonate or connect with me at all. Not like the first one, not like 2000, and definitely not like the colorful and charming 3000. You know, which I had both an original CD of that and the unlimited version. That's probably it, you know. To me, SimCity 4 just lacks charm. Intro to 126 comes from AstralNRG, who writes, "Will you lower your carbohydrate intake? And 2, will you even lift? I saved this health-conscious bacon just for you." Intro to 127 is Roofrin2567, who writes, "Are there any particular games in development you are keeping an eye on? Do you have any hobbies other than this one?" No games, no. There was Red Shirt, but I actually went out of beta and into full release a few weeks back. I have yet to spare the time to track the game as it exists now. I seldom track games in development. I'd rather spend my time playing already developed games. And sure, I have plenty of hobbies. I read, I play tabletop role-playing games, I get angry at the United States political system, I criticize folks for failing to recognize their inadequacies, you know the good stuff. Intro 128 comes from Phoenix0666. How many trains do you think have passed by your house while recording? And 2, what is your favorite series that SKS is doing or already has done? Several dozen. For the first question. The answer to the second question. What the fuck is happening here on this map? Colonization. It's the first series of his that I ever watched, and I watched it completely. And it was the most entertaining in spite of his numerous flaws. That was back in the day when he was a more wholesome individual instead of this corporate sellout who whores himself for some views and likes. Are there just ogres that the game is programmed to make appear on this map, only they don't actually appear on the map? On impure strategy, even? I mean, normally, obviously, there's fuck tons of ogres that spawn. It'd be worth quite a amount of points, so that's unfortunate. Although, actually, I'm getting a lot of score on pure... I wasn't expecting that. Holy shit! Yeah! Yeah! Fucking A! Goddamn score, just holy fucking shit! If I'd fucking known that, I would have done this shit tons of times, much sooner. Whoa. Yeah. It's gonna be great. The enemies aren't that fucking hard either. It's great. So yeah, he's even a YouTube partner with TGN now. It's so terrible. He's such a bad person. 129 inch. Oh, speaking of Chips, hey there, Evac. How you doing, Chips? Evac writes, are there any games, and if so, would you name them, that have offended you in some way due to the subject or content of the game? I would like to draw a distinction between the game and the practices of the developers who made it. I'm interested specifically in the game itself. 2. Are there any trends in video game design in the last 10 to 15 years which you feel have been particularly good or particularly bad for the hobby itself? If there are, could you please name them? A lot of nested questions and shit too, but whatever. It's Chips. Let's go ahead and get started. I consider myself an open-minded individual when compared to the society in which I live. Although I think I'm less tolerant. Sure can actually arrive. They actually are. Hey, actually is a thing. I love how the mana is just all disappearing in front of me before I get to it. The Sharkin are dangerous. Might actually have some derailed defenses pop up soon enough. Really? Ogres are spawning? You don't say. You don't say. Oh man, good times. Right, I consider myself an open-minded individual when compared to the society in which I live, although I think I'm less tolerant than many of my viewers. When it comes to video games, I'm willing to overlook distasteful elements, or rather, you know, elements I find distasteful is the same thing, if I can still find the game enjoyable. However, as a highly intelligent, willful person, that isn't often the case. Let me paint some strokes for you on the canvas, and you'll see that a list of names would be too time-consuming. One major complaint I have with video game culture and Western civilization as a whole is the reification of women. I'm a feminist, and even when I was a teenager, in the peak of my hormone rage, when I was least likely to give a fuck, I still felt as my intelligence was being insulted. And of course, we know why this occurs. The game market is primarily designed by men, and it's primarily marketed towards men. The video game industry is pockmarked by sexism and misogyny because our culture is that way. You know, take fighter games. Street Fighter, Dead or Alive, Rumble Roses, Skullgirls. Man, wouldn't it be awesome if two women could just lay into each other and beat the fuck out of one another? You know, like a UFC fight, mixed martial arts. You know, wield fucking epic powers of malevolence and destruction. No. We have to do catfights, huh? And then we joke about those catfights. Final Fantasy VII has a catfight. You remember that mini-game between Tifa and Scarlet? Yeah. And if memory serves, I don't know, because I only ever really played the US version, that was only for a little bit. But in the international release of the game, you even have some water tossed onto the two, and then it's a wet t-shirt catfight. Oh boy, everyone! Are you fucking kidding me? Let's continue along that Final Fantasy trend. Let's talk about monsters. You know, big, bad, and uglies. That's usually the case for monsters, not so much on women. You know, men, male monsters, oh, they're absolutely fucking hideous. Women monsters? Good! Monster girls! Makes you wanna fuck them! And if it doesn't make you feel so bad if they're gonna enslave you or eat you in the process, like your very own fantasy Black Widow. How delightful! This is a widespread problem across role-playing games, including massively multiplayer online ones like World of Warcraft. I like it. You know, I have a picture. This is not from WoW. This is actually from another one. There we go. There's our orcs at the end. Let me pull this up here. The game runs in the background. Where are you? There's an example image I actually have on my computer. A situation like this. Will that show up? No. Add. Yes. Wave 14. Add window capture. Yeah, that'll work. Great. Yes, this is a good example. Alright, so we have this desiccated feminine face. She's missing her fucking nose. You know what seems off in this picture? This. Absolutely pristine and glorious condition breasts. Wonderfully awesome, and, you know, so bandaged together there. It's fucking what? What the fuck? How is... I like undead, but really, how is every other part of your body rotted off except for your breasts? Do you use, like, a topical cream? A regular massage to invigorate the blood vessels? What am I missing here? This definitely dips into tabletop role-playing games, too. It's just so many goddamn fucking artists. They can't help themselves, you know, when they're not designing boob plates or other absurd forms of armor. Let me tell you a little bit how that works. Okay, so you've decided to design a feminine breastplate, one which has the curvatures that are demanded by an ample bosom. And then, when the sword connects with the breastplate, it glides right along that wonderful cavity that you made and hits you in the fucking chest. She falls, she dies. End of fucking story. That's how that works. And you know, other absurd forms of armor. Absurd clothing. That's important too. I don't have enough bacon in the freezer to list every single game involving women in absurd clothing or with absurd proportions, or games which have their camera angles rest ridiculously on their assets. You know, one of the major reasons I disliked the Tomb Raider games was because of how much emphasis was put in on Lara Croft having an erotic appeal. And from everything I've seen in images and thoughts about later Tomb Raider games, that has gotten worse. The scenes in many games are framed to showcase feminine assets. For that matter, so are comic books. A major reason I have difficulty enjoying comic book characters. Look at the Metal Gear Solid games. Look at Samus and her de-evolution from absolute badass to skin-tight what the fuck. Mass Effect. The Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. You get my point? How about games where women serve as nothing more than plot devices? Where they don't talk about anything other than sex? Where they're just designed to be fan service? Where they absolutely serve zero fucking point and honestly just they're there not even to be interacted with, but they just serve as eye candy. Where women have to be marketed as being incredibly vain and worried about their appearances. Men do, but women are. And any woman who breaks that overbearing stereotype is ostracized and ridiculed. People don't want to play games where women can actually do. How many games have you seen where women are less than beautiful, even ugly, where physically strong and athletic women are ridiculed? How about fat girls? Girls can't be fat, not in video games, that's impossible. I could go on. I could even talk about the demerits of positive discrimination, where game developers will take the absolutely opposite approach. You know, try to compensate for that, like women are wiser and smarter, and they still end up failing. But I think I've spent too long on this question, and heaven forbid I fucking overcook the bacon. To summarize the situation, I do play games in which unimaginative objectification of women does occur. I even like some of them. These situations are, regardless of, whether I like them, though, work that treadmill, I still find those insulting. They're insulting to my intelligence, and they're insulting to women. Den du bist, was du ist. And you know what? There are other things I find insulting and offensive. That was just one fucking aspect. But like I said, too much time spent on this one. And you know what? Fuck you. You're not monopolizing my time. You know how many other questions I have to answer? What do you think this is, a forum all about you, Chips? You Brits would think that way. Gone are the days when the sun never sat on, your empire. Been in twilight since World War II. But no, seriously, I have a clearly defined code of ethics which I follow, and any game which offends me, which offends them, risks offending me. The more personal the game is, the more dangerous the situation becomes. I'm smart enough to realize that what I do in video games isn't real, building a bunch of uber powerful towers to protect all these Eternia crystals from evil things, or, Unreal Tournament where I'm just fragging a bunch of dudes. I'm smart enough to recognize that, yet I'm also smart enough to know that immersing myself in rape and torture and breaking people apart in superficial pursuits of insert melodramatic response here are not only fundamentally enjoyable for me, but damaging. Because you are what you eat. As for your second question, no, really, fuck you. The answer is yes, and you're not getting names. Fuck your smiley face. We have shit to do. We're moving the fuck on. Next. Entrant 130 is from pre-ID 1220. How does it feel to have been the longest-standing survivor of the Get Wave charity event And what are your feelings of the events as a whole? Looking back on your hobby, which individuals do you feel have had the greatest impact on what you do and how you do it? I feel as if I accomplished nothing. 31 hours nominally for the children. What a useless goal. About your second question, I enjoyed watching people play video games as a kid. And so thanks to my mother and brother for helping me realize that about myself. Then there are the forums and the gaming friends I had as a teenager and adult, where we just spend hours discussing and sharing our gaming experiences with narrative and screenshots. You know, the after-action reports, which were also quite a delight for me, particularly Alfred Packer, who wrote The Adventures of the Croven Clan, an absolutely delightful AAR using Crusader Kings and later Europa Universalis 3. Those were definitely major inspirations for me, and there's so many stories and instances and friends that I just can't recall it all. The same is true for the people who actually do this hobby. One of those longtime gaming friends of mine actually showed me the LP archive years back, where some of the Something Awful Let's Plays get stashed to stay. I really liked Guava Moment and Thurl's narratives. The former did XCOM, while the latter did like King's Bounty and some Might and Magic games. There was Proteus 4994, in particular the playthrough of Daikatana he did with Suspicious. Love that one to bits, especially the like a virtual humanization of John Romero and like how he interacted with the forum as well as with Proteus as they were going through the game, because he was going through it blind. That was quite a delight. And of course, research indicates, who some of you will recognize, particularly Lethal, because he and I have, you both know that how much we enjoyed that. Someone who thought that people doing video playthroughs of strategy games was an absurd idea. I didn't think I'd get into this hobby myself, not until I started playing Liberal Crime Squad again in 2010. I may have been inspired with another game at some point in the future, since this hobby fits my personality, but LCS was the first. Since then, I've been a sponge, and I have incorporated innumerable elements from the series and people I enjoyed watching into what I do, since I do what I like to watch. Except for the part where I'm involved. But greatest impact, those are the folks I name above. Okay. Next up, we have Just Call Me Blank, 131, who writes, I heard you say you simply could not get into Dwarf Fortress. Is this because of the Spartan interface, the lack of direction, the roguelike aspects, or for other reasons, or for no reasons? And then 2, what's your favorite sandwich and how is it made? Your first question, yes. I find Dwarf Fortress, oh boy, am I sure I want to cross the threshold? Yeah, we'll cross the threshold. Oh god, here it comes. I find Dwarf Fortress to be utterly obtuse and absolutely inaccessible, with pathetic direction or explanation, without a third-party information source, or hell, even third-party organizations. The game lacks a built-in tutorial, the learning curve remains steep, even after a dozen hours. You can learn advanced mechanics and optimal fortress layouts through tinkering, but you can't do that with the basic shit. When I want to feel utterly powerless by sifting through archaic esoteria, in the useless futility of trying to memorize basic commands without being able to grasp the higher level concepts of fixing problems or seeing how everything fits together in order to achieve a long-lasting success in which I can invest myself into actually having fun, I'll play Dwarf Fortress. For anyone unfamiliar with the situation, I'll compare Dwarf Fortress to how Paradox Interactive games used to be. The originals. I remember asking for Heart of Iron as a Christmas gift, and I was so disappointed with the presentation of the game. The instruction manual had no table of contents, typographical errors, and in some cases was inaccurate compared with what I saw on the screen. The style catered only to a small section of gamers. Now, Paradox has improved their presentation over time, and I actually found both Crusader Kings 2 and Europa Universalis 4, simple to pick up, They've gotten much better at explaining, or in some cases, automating the mechanics of the game, meaning you spend less time learning how to play the game, you know, being completely stonewalled until you do, and more time actually playing the fucking game and learning as you go. Dwarf Fortress, not so much. I pick the game up maybe about once a year, and I'll scrutinize the wiki, then go back to the game, then back to the wiki, and back to the game. I interrupt the flow of the game regularly, because I'm busy consulting a third-party information source on how the hell I do X without even knowing why I do X, except because I'm told to do it. It's not fun for me. Now I understand that Tarn and Zach Adams aren't making a commercial product. They're making a game the way they want to make it, and I don't fault them for that, just like I don't fault anyone who plays the game. I think Dwarf Fortress has a lot of potential and capability. We've certainly seen that from all the stories and moments that have arisen on the internet over the years because of it. There's a vast sandbox there in both Fortress and Adventure mode. You just need a lot more than a shovel and fucking pail to explore it. And don't even get started with me, fanboys. I've been hearing this shit for years. The popular attitude for Dwarf Fortress would have me sucking the game's dick. The same high and mighty attitude comes down from anyone who chooses to press through considerable masochism in pursuit of a goal, and I'm not just talking about a video game, but those certainly apply, like NetHack, or, you know, the old Paradox games. I don't think losing is fun. A slogan like that is a failed attempt at justification to cover a game's numerous flaws. Losing can be fun, but it can also be infuriating. Losing is situational. I have more I could say about the game, but you know, I think I'm good now that I've provoked some people to skip this part of the video. Others to unsubscribe to me, and still others to begin pinning comments about what they think about the game, or what they think about what I think. Provocative bacon. And speaking of provocative bacon, I have some pictures. Grimith has picture bacon. That's right. Yes, he fucking does. Oh man, I got excited there, everyone. So first off, we have this image with which some of you may be familiar. Let me zoom in here away you. This is a Dwarf Fortress fun. A casual gamers we have over here. Guy, he got a table, he's got a menu, he orders some fun, gets the fun, he devours the fun, and things are great. Hardcore gamers. A guy orders fun, waiter fucks around with him, so he gets into a fight with the waiter, he begins devouring the fun, he kills the waiter, and there you go. Dwarf Fortress. That menu is fucked up. Then this comes out of nowhere. Game over. Then this happens. Game over. Then this happens. Game over. And then this situation happens in which you claw apart a motherfucking serpent, devour the fun of its heart, and then collect all of the fun. Another example would be this image, which I think... There we go. That'll still show just fine. Learning curve of popular games. Halo, StarCraft, World of Warcraft, Dwarf Fortress. So there's a whole lot of, fun and unity together in the whole sort of abuse of the game. Fantastic! Provocative bacon indeed. As for my favorite sandwich, pepperoni, Genoa salami, and Black Forest ham with mustard, pickles, salt, and pepper on a toasted Kaiser roll. Sometimes I'll add lettuce, oil, and vinegar and make a salad. Okay. Entrant 132 is from KillRain42. Hopefully not too nosy or personal of me, but what do you think got you into the type of personality that you are today? Or rather, how did you come to the state of mind that you find yourself in and choose to present to us, the viewers? Secondly, if I haven't already been ignored for being a nosy, pretentious jackass, what was your opinion, if you ever played it, although I'm betting you have, of the original Half-Life or the Half-Life series in general? Is it something you get on with? I don't have a problem with your first question, but I don't know how to answer it. 26 years of life in a privileged household with loving parents, one of whom was so intelligent and unapproachable that he intimidated me for 20 years? The vast isolation required to sculpt a divergent opinion which questions authority and challenges social norms? The withering sarcasm and bitter cynicism needed to shield a fragile dreamer's heart from the cruelties of the world. Copious amounts of melodrama? Have some non-committal bacon. I played Half-Life. I thought it was alright. Nothing I got overly excited about, but I didn't think I wasted my time. Entrant 133 from Igdognito 11,200. Do you enjoy living in North Carolina? Would rather be somewhere else? Do you believe morality is just a human concept and really has no bearing on the universe? Or is morality an inert mechanism in the functions of this particular universe? More philosophical than scientific or empirical. You know, I don't even live in North Carolina, so yes, I would rather be somewhere else. To hell with Carolina del Norte. Bunch of bums. Carolina del Sur for life. I think morality is a necessary human invention for civilization. Laws attempt to enforce morality, religions attempt to foster it. Unfortunately, what we have in our global society are conflicting moralities, each drawn from experiences both shared and unique. I would love to see a unified humanity, and countries have taken pains to make that happen through finding common ground, but it's slow. But no, I don't think morality is integral to the entire universe. And again, fuck do I know? I'm a goddamn thing. 134 comes from Happy Grenade 123, who writes, Grimith, do you think we are derps? 2. Do you think we are all herps? Fucking shackle fucks. Entry 135 comes from Sergiu Petroskovka. How much dosh did it take to start this money? Dosh is a slang word for money. And what is your favorite Let's Play you have done? To start the hobby, I didn't spend any money. I used a microphone and embedded my laptop and a free recording program. All I needed was time, and I've certainly invested a lot of that in the hobby. Uh-oh. Mm-hmm. Fucking sharkin'. Fucking sharkin'. And my favorite series? I answered this earlier. We're sticking with my baby. Liberal Crime Squad. Fucking sharkin'. This is why I like to use gas traps. Stop the sons of bitches cold, and then kill them while they're stopped cold. Alright. Next one is 136 from Cypher RCX, who writes, Remark, Grimith, you look a lot different than when you did in Super Jinsei game with SKS. Questions. 1. What was the worst punishment or most embarrassing and funny moment during all those years you were in high school? 2. How was the girl you made out with last night? I suffered from crippling shyness when I was a kid. Still do, actually. I don't like confrontation or inconveniencing other people. This hobby is different, well, for one, because it's my hobby, and for two, because fuck you. But I'm very sensitive and considerate of the people around me and how I impact them. Furthermore, I'm a perfectionist. Not a perfectionist so much by school standards or by society standards, but by my standards. And my perpetual failure to live up to them over the years has created an undercurrent of both anger and shame directed at myself. But I didn't want to add to those. I was a well-behaved kid in school, so I didn't get punished much. I was never suspended, despite having gotten into 2 fights. I served detention once in middle school for excessive tardiness, and that's not something I could have controlled. Given the situation, about the biggest moment that sticks with me was, when I was in kindergarten. After school, and until my mom got off work, I'd stay at a daycare, and there would be older kids there, including up to 2nd grade. Well, after one particular trip, 2 older kids were picking on a younger one, who was my age, and I decided to join in because, well, I was 5, and 5-year-olds are merciless and don't have a sense of morals. That's why I kicked him. Well, the overseer, saw me kicking the kid, and my entire punishment was about the worst thing I could ask for. A public stern talking to. And being placed in a very visible timeout. Ostracized from everyone else. Why so hard? Just for stupid shit. It wasn't fair. No es justo. No es justo. No justo. Now, when I say I wasn't suspended, I suppose I should preface that by saying for disciplinary reasons. In my junior year of high school, during exam week, I was actually kicked out of school for a day and forbidden to come back until I had a psychiatric evaluation by an approved district psychiatrist. My morbid humor and dark personality had a tendency to scare people. They were protections, walls I had designed for myself. But they had consequences, and my school administrator, we had several, along with a police officer, searched through my book bag, and they found the binder of poems I had started writing since middle school. All meticulously dated, binder I kept with me to remind myself of my past, and they thought that meant I was a security risk, so there you go. I needed a mental health evaluation. So that was the thing. And ultimately I didn't kill anyone, right? Also, I made out with a girl last night? Dude, picture didn't happen. Now, next up we have 137 here from Furoni333, Furioni, who writes, is there a game you have always wanted to play yet did not have the opportunity? And what constitutes a good game in your opinion? If I really wanted to play a game bad enough, then I would have found a way. I'm sure I wanted to do plenty of things that I just stopped wanting to do, I guess. As for what constitutes a good game, according to Grimith, a game that manages to prove itself worth my time, primarily by entertaining me? Like, there are so many variables in that, I don't know how to define them for you. Here, have some intentionally vague baking, because I don't feel like digging through my freezer to find something more concrete. Let's see here. Next up, we have 138 from, God damn it. From Sea of Vomit, who writes, growing up playing with the Sega Genesis, what were your favorite games for said system? Will you ever be getting it on with any other Genesis titles in the future, outside of games that you're doing for the rewarding the rewarders, if any? My brother and I, actually didn't own many Genesis games, although we certainly borrowed some and rented others. We both liked the Super Nintendo more. I really enjoyed Pirate's Gold, and of course, Shadowrun. I also played the fuck out of Road Rash 2. Big fan of that. And I imagine at some point or another, I'll record myself playing another Genesis game. I'm pretty sure at least one was requested on the Rewarding the Rewarders list. I just can't remember what the hell it was. I just don't know when or what the game will be in question. Entry to 139 comes from John Brahman, who writes, do you think that it is better to have yearly sequels to a game in the franchise matter, or never give the game a sequel at all? Do you think that game stories have been getting better as of recent years in line with improving graphics, or have they been getting worse? I think that depends on the game. You may have noticed that I deflect absolute questions with relativity. I do so because situations matter, and I don't like to get painted into a corner. Game developers can release whatever product they want. The public will vote with their money. And as for game stories, I would say worse only because with the improvement of systems, there's been less time for stories in game development, as well as less the need for stories in game development. After all, when you can only do a text-based game, the requirements for making that text more intriguing is pretty fucking big. Nowadays, not so much. Maybe Western civilizations needed more text-based first-person shooters in the 1980s. Question 140 comes from Daemonium0921, who asks, will your air conditioner ever co-commentate more videos? I love her voice. Fills you with joy. Yes? Entry 141 comes from Maple Data, whose Sharkin are able to just fucking swing around the corner just there. It's not good. It'll do, though. We're on wave 2.
Definitely got more score than either of the other maps. That was a nightmare, too. Tavern Defense is a really nice, friendly map that apparently is supposed to be summoning a lot more ogres than it actually is. Maple Data writes, come up with a question, eh? Will you ever be doing more tabletop roleplays? I very much enjoyed the ones you've done. Most likely.
Let's see here. Entry 142 is by XPooX105, and I think that can wait until next video. As these final little orcs raffle skating to death here.
All right.
Let's go ahead and sell that. And place that, because I can't use my fucking jester, and we're good to go. So I'll catch you all in the next one, folks. Be in a very short time from now.